I'm Joanna. I'm a wife, a mother, a photographer. I love coffee, wine, and clothing. I love my pups, hats, and just being silly. Welcome to my channel. Well, hi, how are y'all doing today? I've been asked to do a blanket tutorial. I'll put a picture of what we're doing. Since I haven't made this particular color yet, this is the color we're going to be working on. Oops, upside down. So this is the Bernat Big Blanket Big yarn. You can also, and I got this at Michael's. You can also go to Walmart and they have mainstays. This is the Chanel chunky yarn. Just depends on if you get a deal. I got a deal at Michael's. It was like buy one, get one half off, and Phil actually liked this color, so I'm gonna do this for him today on this tutorial. You will need, and please forgive me, let me tell you that I'm not an expert crocheter, knitter. I just learned how to do this literally like a month ago. And I've watched tutorials myself to learn how to do this, so I'm sure that it's not going to be perfection where you're talking about people that have done this for years and years and years. But I wanted to do this and it was easy. It doesn't even take a needle. So you can do this with your hands, and it's just kind of fun to be able to make something, and I like to give them away. I have one for myself, but I actually like to make them for people. So that's what we're going to be doing today. You'll need 5 of these if you're going to go with the yarn from Michael's, and I'm trying to see how much is on here. It is 300 grams or 10.5 ounces, and then the Chanel yarn from Walmart is a little less per roll. So depending on how long you want to do, yeah, it's 31 yards or 8 ounces and 226 grams. So roughly 26 grams less than what the Michael's roll has on it, or skein, or however you say that, skein, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just learning. So you'll need 5 of these, or I'd go ahead and get 6 of these, unless you want your blanket to be shorter and just like a lap throw. This is actually going to be wide enough to cover 2 people if they were snuggling on a love seat and cover their feet. So I'm gonna go ahead and get set up to start my blanket, and then we'll start the tutorial. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to make a slip knot to start off and start the chain. So we're going to go in here, just like that. Just start a slip knot. Should be about 1.5 to 2 inches long as far as the first chain is concerned. So we're going to do 25 chains. I don't know if you've ever crocheted, but all we're going to do is go in from the back and pull through. And then we've got 2 chains right here. So I'm going to go in from the back and pull through. From the back, pull through. From the back, pull through. Now you do want this chain to be kind of loose so that you have enough room to work the chains going up as we go up this way. But for now, this is going to be good. I don't want it to be too tight, but I don't want it to be super loose because I don't want a lot of holes in the blanket. So we go in from the back, pull through. And we're going to do this until we have 25 loops. In from the back, pull through. I'm going to redo that one. And you can always loosen and redo if you mess up. So we're going to count, see how many I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now, some of you may want to stop here because these blankets they stretch really a lot. So this right here, as you can see, would cover me well. I'm just going to go ahead and make it a 20 length and then make this longer. You know, actually, take that back. I have to edit that out. We're going to go 5 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just to make sure the width of it is quite long. That way, you know, if you and your partner want to cuddle up, you can. Okay, so I should have 25. I'm going to count the holes on the chain, and I know this yarn is kind of hard to see. You might want to start with the solid color first to get the hang of this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. All right. So we're going to flip that chain. And what this does is it gives you just you're able to see better as to what you're grabbing. Make sure you can see that. Here. All right. So now I'm going to skip this first one. And we're going to grab the center of the chain. So when you see your chain, you'll see that center one coming over. That is what we're gonna grab, that center one. So if you can see here, this will be my first one. So I'm gonna go in from the back and pull a loop. So that's 1. So we're counting this one, but we're not going through that first one. So this will be my second loop. And then I'm going to grab that one that goes over the middle. In from the back, pull a loop. That's 3. Find the middle. In from the back, pull a loop. 4. From the middle. And from the back, pull a loop. I think I missed it on this one. Yeah. I missed this one. Sorry. So in from the back, pull a loop. That's 4. It just helps me to count until I really get going on this. So this first one is always the hardest. And you can see it starts to take pattern. You see that right there. So we're gonna get that middle loop in from the back and pull a loop. I think I may need to change my camera angle here. So I'm picking up that middle, in from the back, pull a loop. In from the back, pull a loop. That middle one in from the back, pull a loop. All right, we're going to do that, repeating until we have 25. Okay, so I had to go back. Actually, myself, I had missed a loop. I counted all my loops and I was one short, so I had to go back and redo my chain. But as you can see, I've got 2 more left here. So we're going to go in here and we're going to go right through here, which as you can see is that loop that goes over through the middle in the chain. So that should be 24 and 25. So I should have 25 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, so 25. Now we're going to work our way back down. And we're going to skip the first loop. We're always skipping the first loop because we want a nice chain on the outside of our blanket, and it's going to be one behind so that when we get to the top of our blanket, it's going to have a nice rounded edge. You don't have to do that, but you can. I like to anyway. That's the way I learned. So we're just, now it's going to get simpler because it's not so hard that we have to find the middle one on that chain. But as you can see, if you know you've done it right, you'll have a chain on the bottom of your loops. So that's my second loop. I skipped the first, and then we're going to go in through the back and pull a loop all the way down until we have 25 loops again. And as you're working, you want your yarn to go the opposite way, or the way that you're working actually, so that you're pulling the yarn this way instead of against your loop so it doesn't come undone. So again, I'm gonna go pull a loop, in from behind, pull a loop, in from behind, pull a loop, and so on until I get to the end, and I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, we've done, we're on row 2 or 3 if you count your chain. So we've got the chain, then 1, 2, and I'm down at the end. I've got my last 2 loops, the one that we did not go through on the first chain, and then the last one of your second chain that I'm doing. So I'm going to go in through the back, pull a loop. Now this one that I didn't get before, we're going to grab this time. So I'm going in through the back and pull a loop. But as I start my third chain going the other way, I'm going to skip this first one that I just did, but you're counting it. So this is 1, and then in through the chain, pull a loop. And we're going to go back all the way down, going in through that hole, pull a loop, in through the hole, pull a loop, And it works better if you have a smooth surface to work off of. And I like to sit at a tall table if you have it, maybe a bar, because that way you can sit nice and tall over your work, and you're not reaching for it, because as this blanket gets bigger, it's a little bit more difficult to handle. All right, I'm gonna meet you back at the end. We're gonna go all the way. We should have 25 loops when we get to the end. Okay, now I've completed my third chain, working back to the left. So I'm on, this is loop 24. I just pulled a loop through, and this would be the last chain on my first row. And I'm going to go ahead and pick that up and pull a loop. And then we're going to go back the other way, but we're going to be skipping this first one, but counting it. So that's 1, then 2. Through the back, pull a loop. So that's 4. And we're going to go all the way down to 25. I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, we're back at the end, and as you can see, I've pulled loop 24, and this would be my 25th loop, would be the last one that we skipped on the last row, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up that for 25. Now you can see we've got a nice little edge forming with our chain here, and we are starting row number 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, so we should be starting row number 5 of the loop pattern. So we're going to skip this first one again, and we're going to continue to just skip that first one on each side right here. We'll skip that one each time when we're coming back through. You want to get it on the way down and then skip it on the way back. So this will be loop number 2, 3, and so I'm going to finish this and go on and finish this roll of yarn. And once I'm done with this, I'll meet you back, and I'm going to show you how to tie up to another roll and keep on going. Somehow I missed one somewhere. I am at 24 loops. I just counted to check myself, so I just wanted to let y'all know that sometimes that you can make a mistake, and I'm going to show you how to handle this once it gets longer. Right now, because it's slipping off, we're just going to roll that over so that it's easier to handle and doesn't slip off of where you're working, your working surface. So I'm currently working my way back through and almost to the end of my yarn. Make sure you can see this. And I checked it to try and find where I missed a loop, because that would mean a whole row would come undone if you miss a loop, and I haven't found it yet. I would have gone back and fixed it, and all you got to do is just undo it and go back to it. But if I find it once I'm done with this blanket, I'll just tie it off so that it doesn't come unraveled. So we're going to get to the end of this yarn. I counted 3 times. I'm like, I did not see where I missed a loop. Okay, I'm gonna undo that one. So I'm here to the end of my chenille. And we are going to tie this to the next roll or skein. So let me get that going. So we've got my first row and my second row. And I'm just going to cross that over and tie a knot like so. And then you're going to pull on each side several times until it's nice and secure. Okay, and then what we're going to do is just trim off those short ends. And just give it a good tug, make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And then you're off to the races. You can continue going down your work and repeating the same thing that we've been doing all the way to the end, skipping that first one on the way back and continuing to go row by row. I might be a row behind on one of these. That might be what happened. We'll see. I'm going to count again. Anyway, on that first piece that you started with, I didn't tell you, go ahead and tie that off and make a knot at the end. And this is back when you started your chain. We just want to tie that off, make sure it's nice and secure, and then clip that off, because that chenille will unravel if you don't tie off the end. So we'll come back when we're done with our blanket and I'll show you how to tuck that in after we tie off or fasten off the end. But for now we've got our second row going, our second roll of yarn going, and we're going to continue with doing row by row. Let's see, I'm not done here, so I'm going to finish this row. And again, I'm just going through the back, pulling a loop. Make sure your chain is flat when you're pulling through and not twisted around, or your blanket is going to be twisted in the pattern. So we're pulling a loop. And if you don't want your blanket to be this wide, of course you can cut down how many chains you start off with. So I just did that last loop here at the end, and I'm going to skip it and go to the second loop on that row and go back through. And repeating that. Repeating that until I get to the end. So I'm about 3/4 of the way through with this blanket, and I wanted to point out a couple things that I did wrong. When I told you earlier I only had 24 loops, I knew I had missed one, unless I was just really bad at counting at the beginning. So I went back, and as I'm flipping over my blanket, I found the missed loop, and it was down, let's see if I can find it. It was towards the beginning, so I did not want to take apart this entire blanket to fix it. Oh, heck. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so I found this loop. Actually, here's another one. This is another one. This is the one I missed, so good. I'll just go ahead and show you how I'm going to fix that. So a missed loop, this would mean that if this got washed or after some use, it would come apart and unraveled and you'd have a hole in the middle of your blanket. So what I'm going to do is clip that and we're going to tie it to that next one in line, make sure that it's around that. The good thing about this fluffy yarn is you can't see mistakes. So it's great for beginners. It is great for beginners. So we just want to make sure that that stops the madness. Don't be afraid to give it a little tug and make sure. So there won't be some huge gaping hole in your blanket. So then I'm just going to go ahead and clip that. And now I've accounted for that missing loop. And hopefully there are no others. And see, there's a little disruption in that pattern. I don't know if you can see that right there. But it's not real noticeable. I'm lucky this is multicolored, so it'll be hard to see. And it's just for my husband anyway, so. Okay. Now we're at the end of our blanket. You want to make sure that you have enough extra yarn so that you can fasten off the end of your blanket. And a way to tell that is to run the yarn at least 2 lengths. So I'm going down and back. I'm sorry, at least 2.5 to 3 lengths. So I just made sure that I have enough for 3 lengths of blanket here. Okay, now the way that we're going to fasten off is you're going to take that last loop and you're going to pull through, and then you're going to take the next loop and you're going to pull through 2. So you keep that one that you pulled through and the second loop and pull through. And then I'm going to pick up another loop. So I have 2 on my finger at a time. And I pull through. And you can see we're rounding the corner. So I pick up this loop and the next loop. See right here, 2, and pull through. And then I pick up the next loop, take the working yarn, pull through. And you should start to see a chain right there on the top. Scoot this over a little bit. So I pick up the loop and then the next loop and pull through. Pick up the next loop, grab the working yarn, pull through. Next loop, working yarn, pull through. And then on to my last one, same thing. Put 2 on your finger, pull through. All right, so you're left with this last loop. You don't need a really long tail here, so I'm just gonna cut about, see, from the loop to the tail, maybe about a foot. All right, and I'm gonna take the end of the tail and go through the loop and pull it until it's tight. So you should have a corner here. All right, then it doesn't need to be this long. I'm gonna take this here, make sure that we have a knot on the end. Pull that tight, trim the end, and then we're going to just feed this back through, weave it through, down and up, until the tail is completely woven back through your work. Now we're going to pick up the tail on the beginning here. When we went back and knotted it, remember? And we're going to do the same thing there. We're going to go in and back up and just weave that through. This yarn is really thick and fluffy, so it's good about hiding the end of the tail. So as you can see, we have a completed blanket. It's a nice size for a throw on the couch. Would cover a twin bed as well. And that's it. We're all done. We have a blanket made, and now you have something that you can make for pretty inexpensive if you can find a deal on that yarn. So anyway, have a great day. Be blessed. Take care. See you next time. Thank you for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel. On my next episode, I'll take you along as I get my eyebrows microbladed. Thank you. Be blessed.